I mean, there's enough bad news going on. You just don't hear about the good things that are going on. There are good things going on. There's good things happening. I mean, God is moving. Things are really working. And, if you're going to read a book, I think you should read something that encourages you and inspires you and makes you feel better. I don't think you need more depressing stuff. I don't think you need to read more doom and gloom. I mean, just look out the window, there's doom and gloom. I think if you're going to put the time and effort into reading, then do something constructive and help yourself to pick up, and become a better person.
Everyone, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. I have a great author on the podcast with me today. Karin is here. We're going to be talking about her book, her journey as an author. She's joining me from the other side of the world, which is always great to have that. And I just want to welcome Karin to the show. Karin, welcome to Living the Next Chapter.
Thank you so much. What a privilege to be on your podcast and to speak to your listeners. Thank you.
It's amazing. Before we hit record, you mentioned you've been listening, which makes me happy. I love seeing those stats and seeing other countries in the world that are listening to the show. So thank you for making me happy by listening to the show.
Well, thank you for all the trouble that you go to do the podcast. But they really are very informative, and all the effort you put into this, just absolutely amazing. Thank you so much yourself for doing that.
And now I'm envisioning you walking and listening to your own episode in the future. That's going to be an interesting thing, right?
Yeah, look at that. That'll be weird. Wow.
I love it. But yeah, again, thank you for listening. I really appreciate that. Tell everybody where you are in this big world of ours.
I'm in Sydney, Australia, early morning here. It's a bit cold, winter's coming in, and right across the world, and it's exciting.
Isn't it amazing what we can do through technology and connect with like this guy in Canada and you, and it's amazing. I love it.
The world is so small. I mean, news flies so fast. Information comes within seconds. We can make you get overload, but the world is very small. I have a few friends in Canada. I actually speak to most people outside of Australia. It's just amazing. It's just getting the time right. That's the harder part.
Well, you're in the future, so as long as the future looks bright, we're all in good shape.
The future is pretty much the same as yesterday. But it's all good. It's all good.
I love it. So let's jump into your author story, Karin. How did all this start for you to become an author? There was a point in time when maybe writing or being an author wasn't really in your thoughts, but now here you are as an author. How did that all happen for you?
I tell you, it was the biggest surprise of my life. I am a Christian, and I felt a stirring inside of me that God wanted me to do something, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. And a friend of mine said to me, let's go to this course that's called How to Find Your Passion. And this leader told us all to close our eyes and pretend we were looking down at our 90-year-old self or 85-year-old self, and we would say, Karin, you are a great... And then the author came out, and I just thought, and then, as I said, also, the whole book came out, the book, my first book, My Journey to Enjoy My Life, it all came out. And I was astounded, but I said to my friend, I'm going to be an author. And she says, do you write? And I said, no. But and that's how it happened. I just felt so compelled that this is what God wanted me to do. So I wrote my first book, and, years later, I'm still writing. Yeah.
Wow. I'm glad you went through that exercise. We might not be talking otherwise, right?
Definitely. Well, I was really seeking because I knew there was something stirring that I had to do. But let me tell you, author was not on my radar. I mean, wow. I mean, I do write. I like to write at school. I used to write my essays. But I never thought the world of being an author and a world of publishing books was even available to the average Joe So. Because, publishing is such a big thing. And you always hear how stringent publishers are and how strict they are, and I just never thought I would even fit in that category of even being able to manifest a book. But the world has changed so much today. I mean, anyone can publish today, and that's what's so beautiful. If you've got a book on your heart, you can make it happen, which is wonderful.
Do you have any suggestions for a new author as a starting point, like where they should begin in the journey of becoming an author and writing their story?
Well, first of all, nothing happens until you have a book. I mean, it can all be in your head, which is great, but you don't need plan 2 or step 2 until you've done step 1. So first of all, I would really say to someone, just put it down. Even if it's all mixed up, it's all I mean, everyone has a weird first draft. By the time you get to actually publishing, you've probably gone through a bunch of drafts. But put pen to paper, so to speak, put your thoughts down. And I found as I started writing and doing my journey, God introduced me to people that could help me. But before that, I didn't need to know these people, because even if I said I was writing a book, I actually wasn't writing a book because I wasn't actually writing. But as I started writing, I found a lady, I was going to a Connect group, and I found a lady that actually was a publisher for Brian Houston. And that was amazing. And turned out she lived 3 blocks from where I lived. And we met one evening in a cafe, and she just loved my vision for my first book. And then she offered to edit it for me for free, which is just only God. Here I'm thinking, how am I even going to afford an editor? How am I going to be able to even do this? But like I said, first write your book. Once you've written your book, the next problem will become the problem, but then the answers will come to that problem when you need it. And she helped me publish it, and then I learned all about self-publishing and opening an Amazon account, and I started watching YouTube videos. YouTube is your friend. I tell you what, there's a world on YouTube. And I'm an older woman. What I know about technology is dangerous. I know more how to delete stuff, but I know how to add stuff. But if I can publish my book, and if I can make it actually happen, anybody can, honestly. Because really, they've made it so easy for people, really. I mean, I learned how to do an ebook. I didn't even know what an ebook was. I never even knew what a Kindle device was, because all I did was I used to go to the library. I'm giving myself away here, but I used to go to the library and just get copies. And then when they said you need an ebook, I thought, what's an ebook? Really. So the information is out there. If you really, really mean business and want to do it, you can do it. You really can. Definitely.
That's good. And that's encouraging, because we have authors listening. They're early in their journey, and they're looking for inspiration from someone who's actually done it. So to hear you say those words is encouraging for them. So thank you for sharing that. I love that. So let's talk more about your book. Let's talk about what you're writing, and I would love to kind of identify the ideal reader for your book and who you have in mind for this. Can you give us a little more detail about your book?
Yeah, sure. So I'm on my 7th book now. And once I got going, I was on a roll. Who knew all the books were inside me? I always had stories in my head, but I just thought they were stories in my head. I used to just laugh at them. But I wrote first 2 nonfiction books, one about my journey from coming out of an abuse situation, a background, how God healed me, and how I became what I call really a normal person, because I had so many setbacks that I just didn't feel like I was normal. And then my other book, Encouragement for the Weary Soul, was more like a good old-fashioned, good old advice where maybe an older person sits and talks to other people and to help you with your issues in life. There was some prayers. And then I decided to start writing clean, wholesome romance. That really appealed to me, because I read a lot and I enjoyed that. So I started a series called Rest Haven Cottage. It's about a retired couple that buy a B&B. And Gillian Peter Osborne. And Gillian is heart of gold, but she just goes a bit overboard in helping her guests. She gets very enthusiastic in her guest affair, and she meddles, but she means well. And so there's a whole lot of drama with all of that. And I did 3 books from the series, and I just published that one. I stopped that now, and people were quite sad that I'd stopped, because they got quite fond of Gillian. But I think rather stop on a high than stop on a low. I sort of felt I wanted to get back to writing single books. And so now I'm writing a book called Broken Trust. It's about a lady called A Tale of Deceit, Love, Redemption, and Hope. She's just been through so much doom and gloom, just, not born in the right family. Her fiancé's gone, her job's gone, and she's just so lost. And I just wanted to bring in characters that help her and develop a nice story of betrayal, of hope, of love, just encouraging. And it's actually a really pleasant book. No matter how down you are, life always will get far better. So that's what I'm busy with at the moment. Yeah.
Amazing. Who inspires you as an author? Who do you like to read?
Oh, I like Debbie McComb. I'm very fond of her. I'm reading Dee Henderson at the moment because I've got a new editor, a Christian lady, and she said to me, I sound a bit like Dee Henderson. So I'm going through her books, which is going back 1998, I think it is. And I've seen how she's progressed in writing, and what my editor's saying to me, she can see how every book I'm getting better. And I'm learning more tricks of the trade and saying things better and describing better and putting in scenery and fluffy words. And so she's sort of taken me on that journey with Dee Henderson. And actually, it's been great. It's been great to see that, when you read your first book, you think to yourself, oh, my goodness, did I actually write this? And now I'm on my 7th book. I can see that thank you, Lord, I am improving and I'm writing better. So, you can't expect to just write a book and, become the New York bestseller. I mean, that happens. I know it does. I know it happened for Fiona McIntosh. She wrote the first book and she became a New York bestseller. She's an Australian author. I really encourage you to read her book. She writes amazingly. But it's not the norm. The norm is you have to do the journey, and you have to grow with the journey. And every book you put more of yourself in it, you learn more, and you improve. And I think that's with everything in life. You've just got to give attention to detail, attention to your life, and you've got to work your muscles if you want to have strong muscles. So the same, you have to work your writing skills to be able to become a better writer.
I like that. So over all of the books that you've written to date, you're saying you're seeing progress for you as an author. What kind of things did you hear early on in your author journey that really helped shape kind of how you write today? Is there certain comments or feedback from editors or your readers that kind of made you kind of change a little bit or adjust how you write your books?
Yeah, I never realized how involved people get into the characters of your that you write about. The one book I wrote, The Proposal, is about a rich guy called Derek, and I've had several people say to me, can you find a Derek for me? And I'm thinking, but he's fiction. Well, I hope he probably is somewhere out there. But people get very involved. So I had to realize when I create a character, they want to see the person, they want to see the eyes, they want to see the eyebrows, they want to see the lips, they want to see the hair, the body, they want to see the clothes. They want to really know all about this person. And so I've had to learn character development. I've had to learn, where does the person live? What time of the year is it? Are they a morning person, a day person? All these things become so into your person that it's actually interesting because, you just think, Jenna went to the shop. Now, they want to know how she went to the shop. What was she wearing? Did she have her favorite perfume on? That's just all the details, So I've had to learn that. I really had to learn that. I read extensively. So I read a lot of nonfiction from other authors. I read, I just bought a book today called On Writing Romance, How to Craft a Novel That Sells. That's a really good book, and I underline things, and I take notes, and I remember. Okay, you've got to show it. You can't just tell it, and it's a lot of work. But I love it. I enjoy it. I'm happy. So,
well, you're seeing results as well. You're seeing these books going in the world. How important is it for you as an author to hear back from your readers through reviews?
Oh, it's a lot. Some people say you shouldn't read reviews, but I think when you're starting out, you need to. I do read reviews. I take on board what people say. I sell a lot of my books to church, and I go to a big church. So often people come past once they find out who I am, and they come and talk to me and my husband, and they say, "Oh, I loved your book," and then I ask them. I say, "Look, now be honest. Was it worth reading? Was it a waste of time?" Because you won't know if you do anything decent unless someone gives you some honest feedback. And authors tend to be very judgmental and critical over their own work. And when people attack your work as such, you sort of get so offensive because it's your little baby that you're sort of growing with. But I like the feedback because it makes me better. You're always going to get the niggly person. That's life. But honest feedback, most people say they enjoyed it so much. Some people say, I wish you put a little bit more in there. And when I think about it, I think, I could have actually bulked it up a bit more. So there is, I enjoy feedback, I do. And I've got some good reviews on Amazon. There's one where they said there was a bit of an editing issue, and I had a look and I saw, because I was writing in Australian English, and there's American English, and most of my audience are American. And so some people don't realize that there's a difference in the language. You know, we put color with a U and favor with a U, and so they sometimes think that that's a spelling error, which it isn't. So I've decided now to write in American English just to save all that, because any review on Amazon I can't take back. I can't get it deleted.
Yeah.
So it's there, and so I thought, no, let me just write in American English.
We have the same spelling things for Canadian English as well. We put the U and all that as well. And it's always funny because I'll hear from my U.S. listeners and people, and they're like, you're spelling that wrong. I'm like, well, no. The majority of the world where English was created and spoken disagrees, just so you know. So you might be spelling it wrong maybe, or different. So, yeah, it happens.
That's right. It happens. It happens.
We have a global audience, and that's the most exciting thing about putting our content out, is that you never know who's going to find this book and fall in love with you as an author. So what else are you doing to help promote all of these great books? You're on podcast with me, which is awesome. What other things are working for you as to get the word out about your books?
Yeah, I did try Amazon ads and Facebook ads. I found them very challenging, the algorithms and all that, and you can throw money at that stuff and just not see anything. So I decided till I hit the big time, I do a lot of personal stuff at church and my groups, but I do a lot of book funnel. I don't know if I'm sure your listeners know about book funnel, but book funnel is an amazing thing, and I'm not getting paid to advertise this, but really I want to really encourage anyone to join book funnel. It is a subscription base. I think it's $10, which really a month, which isn't bad. But I get most of my sales through book funnel, through the promotions. I think if you're going to go through a subscription package and pay for something, then you should work it to the best and get your money's worth. And I get my money's worth of book funnel. I really recommend it. There's also BookPub, but getting a deal with them, as much as it's worth it, is very, very pricey. But I'm a young author, and I've got to work my journey. So I've got to work within my parameters of my finances. I'm not going to get in debt over my books. I do make a profit every month. I can't live off it, not yet. But in saying that, at least I'm getting a turnover, and that encourages me. And I find, like when I've got a pre-order, I have people waiting to read it. So that encourages me. Every little bit of step of the way is a sort of a cog in a wheel. And I've been writing since 2019. So it's taken me a bit of time to sort of get that wheel moving, getting that momentum. I have a nice subscription base now. I've got newsletters I do twice a month. But I've had to learn all these things. I've had to learn how to put up a website. I've had to, to get to employ help is pricey. So I've decided to do it myself. So I've had to learn a lot of stuff. But, I'm seeing results, and I'm really grateful for that. A book funnel I really would recommend to your listeners. It really is worthwhile.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll make sure we have a link to that in the show notes so people can then follow up with that. I don't think in 390 plus episodes anyone's ever mentioned that. So congratulations. Really? Well done that you're bringing new information to us.
I should also for a shout out.
You should reach out to them and get a link or something that you can use. That's a great idea.
Wow.
That's good.
Amazing. Because I didn't know about it either. And then one of my friends who's an author in South Africa, because I'm from South Africa, he told me about it, and then I looked into it. So maybe I should reach out to them also to advertise a bit more.
Maybe there's a link that you can get from them, which allows you to share that website and that idea, and you can make a little bit of money on the side when people use your link. Might be possible.
Hey, never know. There
you go. Put it on your website. You're off you go. I love that.
Yeah.
It's great. So for promoting, then you have all those different angles. As far as like podcasting, have you seen any results from being a guest on a podcast and talking about your writing? Does that help at all?
It does. I'm actually, there's a Facebook group, which I think you're a part of also with helping with podcasts, and you can reach out to people. And I've actually got a lady in Canada that I've been doing podcasts with her for years. Every time I write something, I do a book with her. And then also she interviews me about my journey with my abuse and forgiveness of my father and things like that. And I speak a lot of motivational talks and things like that on different podcasts about forgiveness and about how God has healed me. So I've done quite a few podcasts, which definitely does help yourself. It definitely does. And it also broadens your horizon, which is great. And what I like is I like to meet other authors. I like to know what you're doing, how you're doing, how your day goes, how does your writing go. So it's because, it's a new community that you sort of connect with, and you find out that their secrets to the trade. What are they doing? What's helping them? And so I think it's good to connect, definitely, not to be an island on your own,
Yeah. Anytime we can do things in community, I think we're all stronger for that.
Yes.
You're coming with experience, but you're also coming with questions. So, right, there's that back and forth that we can have in community that when we're a solo creator on our own trying to write and be motivated, it's nice to have someone else in our corner that's encouraging you to continue with your craft.
Yeah, definitely. And writing a book, a 300-page book takes maybe 3 months or so. It's a lonely journey. It's you're building the characters. It's all in your head, and now you're trying to put it all on paper. It can be lonely. Sometimes I think I get stuck. She's doing this and he's doing that, and I'm thinking, okay, because you don't want it to be boring. The whole book has got to be page turner. And it's not easy sometimes to generate that and to generate all the ups and downs and, keeping people turning the pages. And sometimes I think to myself, why am I doing this? So then I know, just sure, close the laptop, go for a walk, get a coffee, just breathe. And then, I leave it maybe for a day or so my brain can sort of thinking again. And then it comes back. The light sort of comes on again, and next thing I'm typing away again. So it can be a lonely journey, and I think if you've got friends to encourage you and support groups and people you can talk to, it does make life easier, definitely.
As you look back over the library of all the books you've written, are there any kind of some similar threads or commonalities between them that you're kind of feeling like there's kind of this thing that weaves the books together at all? Or do you think that they're all separate on their own books with no connection to the other books you've written?
No, I do tend to, I like to encourage people. So in my books, there's always encouragement. I talk about, no matter how bad things look, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. So all through my books, all my characters, even the people that came and visited the B&B in my books, Rest Haven Cottage, they came disillusioned, but after spending time talking to Gillian and the owner of the B&B, she encouraged them, and I like to encourage people. So in my books, I always like to put a thread of hope that no matter how dark some days can be, and especially in the world we live in today, with God, we always have hope. We always have a positive outlook. We're not on our own. We don't have to do life alone. We've got a help. And through my books, I try and put this through. And even in life, God puts people in your pathway to help you, to talk to you. And so the same as in my book, this lady, Jenna, she's going through dark stages, but she bumps into someone in the lift. And this guy in the lift is the answer to all her dreams and then some. And then they build a bond. And, it's just an accidental, morning, and then you're in the lift together, and it changes your life. And this is how life is. It's a little incidents, little small things that can become life-changing things. You just bump into someone, or someone just says something, and even with the podcast I was listening to on yours, something was said, and I just felt, that's right, I need to do that. It's just 3 or 4 words that can just make you light up, So I try and do that through my book. So when you finish the book, you read a good story, I believe. You like what you read, but inside you internally, you've got a bit of peace and a bit of hope and a bit of comfort. So it's sort of a double thing that I'm trying to do here, not you just reading for pleasure, but encouraging you at the same time.
So to get to that result from your books, are you purposely putting things in the book that lead to that, or is it just naturally happening as you're writing that a feeling of hope and that encouragement is going to come through the book? Is it pre-planned, or does it just happen for you?
It seems to be just happening, but I think it's just the way I am. I like to encourage people. My personal motto is I want to leave people better than when I met them. I want them to leave with a smile. I always like to encourage people. So I think when I write, it just comes out. I mean, like with this lady Jenna in my new book. I mean, she is so down. I mean, even when I write it, I can almost feel I'm down as well. And I'm trying to portray the picture that, it just couldn't get any worse. She's destitute. She's got no money. She's got nowhere to live. She's got no family. She's just really out of it. And then I want to build it up. But I really enjoy bringing the hope, bringing the light back, giving you purpose, showing you that no matter how low you are, life can get better. So I do it on purpose, but I find it also happens naturally. It's just the way I write. I just want you to feel better. Feel confident that no matter how dark it is, there is light. It will get better. The dawn always comes. It always comes.
It's good.
Especially in today's world. Yeah.
I love it. And that's what we need more of, right? In our world, we need more encouragement, more hope in everything that we do. And I think that's something that we're kind of starving for. We need that kind of positive content out there in the world that makes us feel better at the end of the day than some of the things we see on the news and all of that stuff. I think you're doing a service by writing these books.
Thank you. I mean, there's enough bad news going on. You just don't hear about the good things that are going on. There are good things going on. There's good things happening. I mean, God is moving. Things are really working. And if you're going to read a book, I think you should read something that encourages you and inspires you and makes you feel better. I don't think you need more depressing stuff. I don't think you need to read more doom and gloom. I mean, just look out the window, there's doom and gloom. I think if you're going to put the time and effort into reading, then do something constructive and help yourself to pick up, and become a better person.
What was it like the first time that you heard the word author directed towards you? And because you love all these authors that you've been mentioning, but now somebody called you an author. What does that feel like to hear that word directed back to you?
It was such a shock. I just was writing. It actually only happened recently on my fifth book. We were sitting in church, and a lady that I just barely knew brought another lady that I didn't know, lost her way, and she said, "This is the author that you're reading. This is the lady." And then she came to me and she said to me, "I love your books." And I just said to James, to my husband's James, I said to him, "It looks like I'm an author." And he said to me, "Well, what do you think you've been doing all this time?" And I said, "I don't know. I've just been writing." But when the wall gets bigger and you sell more and I mean, I've had people tap me on my shoulder and said, are you Karin Thompson? And I say, yes. She says, "I've been reading your book and I don't know these people from Adam." And I think to myself, yeah, I am an author. It took me a while to sort of embrace that title because all I was thinking for a long time was I'm a wannabe author. I'm a try to be author. I'm a hoping to be author, and the ranking in Amazon, your book's number 1 million and something, and you think, oh, who am I trying to kid? But then when it actually starts moving and the ball starts going and you start selling, and then I've got orders now, and I'm trying to keep up with the orders. And where's my next book? And I think to myself, you know what? I'm actually taking on this thing. I'm now an author, and it's happening. And it was really a shock.
Well, I've always said this. It's not bragging if you've done it. So you've done it. You're there, right? And I think your audience loves to recognize that you are their favorite author. They love the chance to get to stand and talk to you and chat about the book and what they loved about it. It's a thrill for them to meet you because they feel a connection with you through your words on a page, right? They've already built a relationship with you and you don't even know who they are.
Exactly. And it's such an honor, it's such an honor that, one person said to me, her husband wanted to go to bed, put the light off, and she said to him, no, I've got to finish the book, got to turn the page, want to see what happened. And I thought to myself, I write? And I think, I'm so grateful to God because honestly, it's something that only He can do in your life. He can, one day you this, the next day suddenly this is happening, and suddenly your whole world is changing. And being an author, it's a whole new world. It really is. There's so much to learn. It's things you just, if you aren't an author, you just aren't aware of books. You aren't aware of how things are done, formatting and ebooks. It's just a whole new thing to learn. It just really is. Yeah. So, very grateful.
We're going to wrap up here in a few minutes, but Before we do that, can you tell us where we can connect with you? I know I see your Facebook page and all of that. Where's the best place for us to connect with you as a listener? But after that, I have a question I kind of want to ask you at the end of our time together. But before we go there, where should we go to connect with you and to reach out and share our love and our comments with you about your books?
Yeah, so I've got a website. I've actually just doing a free one at the moment. So I've sent you the link. Okay. It's karin.wixsite.com.website.
Okay.
But I have sent you the link. It's a bit long at the moment. But normally it's KarinThompson.com. So I've got a website. I have got a subscription base with, I keep people a newsletter with, I encourage, I do a blog. But most of my stuff is on Amazon. So if you put Karin Thompson on Amazon, all my books are there. I've got the bundle together. And I would love to connect with your anyone that's got any questions, anyone that needs help. I definitely would love to help someone. And it would be wonderful to connect.
Excellent. So we'll have links to your website and everything in the show notes and to the books as well, your Amazon page. My closing question for you today, I'm thinking if you could write yourself into your next story as a character, explain to me what your character would be. Would it be a supporting character? Would it be a main character? And tell me a little bit about how you would even do that. How would you write yourself into your next story?
It's strange you say that because I actually write myself into all my books. Because I deal with forgiveness and I deal with tragedy and trauma because of my own personal life. So Gillian in my Rest Haven Cottage series has a lot of traits that I'm like. When I meet someone, I like to encourage them. I like to help them in their life. And I also found, I wasn't really aware of it, but when I meet people, I always put my hand on their shoulder and sort of make some contact, which I know some people don't like, but that's one of my things. And I noticed in my book, Gillian does this all the time. And my editor said to me, why should we touching people? And I thought, oh, my goodness, that's what I do. I thought, okay. So I had to edit a bit of that out. And then even with Jenna, when she was lost and destitute and nothing, I've been there. I've been lost and destitute. I don't have family. I didn't have a job. I didn't have the education. So a lot of the stories are true facts from my life that I've added fiction to and made a character out of. And a lot of people say to me when they read the books, they can just hear me talking. They can see me in the story, especially those that know my past from my book, My Journey to My Joy in My Life. They can see that through the whole thing, I'm adding that little bit of encouragement that, like I said, with the hope and the encouragement. So every book has a bit of me in it. And maybe even with Rest Haven Cottage, Gillian's husband, Peter, has a bit of my husband in it because, you base characters on people you know. It's just, what else do? You don't know anything beside the people that you know. So you see, often when I go for coffee and I listen to a conversation and I hear someone say something, I've always got pen and paper with me and I think, oh my goodness, did you hear what she said? And I'll watch a movie and wow, that's a punchline. And I write things down and I can take that line and I can build on it. And so everywhere you go, you find in that person, the nasty person, the mean person, the kind person, the timid person. You're looking for that all the time. And I write them into my story. You better be careful, Dave. You might be in my story.
I might be a character.
Yeah, there you go.
My goodness. I would love to be a character in your next book. I think that's amazing. I think that's nice because, again, for a reader listening, we don't really understand how characters are developed. We just love falling in love with a character in a book, right? So to hear you explain kind of how you put yourself in there and how you develop your characters, as a reader now, I'm looking for that. As I'm reading, I'm like, oh, she mentioned it, and I can see her.
Yeah,
so
give all my secrets away.
You get your secrets away. I love it. But that's going to maybe sell more books too, right? Well, that's what I'm hoping for.
Thank you.
I love it. Okay, so everyone, please go to the show notes. As always, all the information is there. We would love for you to support yet another great author. And please, 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 when you buy a book from our great authors here on the podcast, leave a nice review. Explain why you like the book. Give some details around why this book means something to you. It does help our authors. It also helps other people looking for a great book because your thoughts and your comments are so immeasurable. If I'm looking for a great restaurant, I'm reading the reviews. If I'm going to look at a movie to whether or not I want to go see it, I'm looking at the reviews. When I'm looking at another great book, having your comments really does help the authors and other people. So please, every time you leave a review or buy a book, please leave the review. And if you bought books in the past, go back and leave your reviews. Our authors love that. Right? Would you agree?
So true. It means the world, really does. A good review and an honest review is what it's all about.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Again, everyone, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the podcast. I really appreciate you being on my show. And now you get to listen to your episode in the future, which is exciting. So
thank you so much, Dave. Thank you. What a privilege. I'm so honored. Thank you very, very much.
Hey, thanks for listening to Living the Next Chapter. I'm glad you stayed all the way to the end. You're my new bestie. And the one thing I like to do with my besties is enjoy time together over a cup of coffee. Now, one thing missing in the equation is my coffee cup is empty. And what I would love if, after 390 plus episodes roughly, if you found any value in the podcast and you want to say, hey, Dave, do you need a refill of your coffee cup? I'm looking at it right now, and you know what? It's looking kind of sad. There's not much in the coffee cup. If you want to help support the podcast, I would love you forever as besties and celebrate coffee with you. You can celebrate and support the show at our website using our Buy Me a Coffee link. And all the money goes back into the podcast. And we also like to give it to other podcasters. So if you want to support the show, head over to livingthenextchapter.com and let's top it up. Thank you guys. Thanks for listening. Cheers.